One of the areas I feel is neglected when you're throwing clay pots is preparing the clay beforehand. I'm going to show you 3 methods of how to do that. Either of these methods will condition the clay to a far greater degree than if it comes straight out of a bag, and will assist you greatly in throwing your clay pots. The first method I'm going to show you is just simple wedging. You get any shape of pot, any shape. Right, you just cut a sort of a bit of a circle out, like this, like so. Turn it over, slam it. Turn it again, do the same thing. Create this circle here. Turn your clay, slam it. Turn your clay, another circle, semicircle, same again, slam it, and you keep doing that. I would do that if I was going to use this method at least 20 times. Oh, by the way, this is about 10 pounds of clay I'm dealing with at the moment. The second method is the ram's head method, and it'll become obvious once you see what I'm doing. You basically are rocking it backwards and forwards like so, with your hands on the side here. That prevents these horns going out here by keeping them here. And you just rock it backward and forwards like that, and rotate it, and rotate the clay this way. And as you can see, there's the ram's head, there's the horns. That's why it's necessary to keep your hands to the side. Basic rocking back and forth. The third method, I'm just getting rid of the ram's head. The third method is the one I favour the most, and it's the one I use all the time, all the way. Have been known when I'm in a hurry, if I'm doing something small like pulling 4 or 5 handles, to get some clay together and wedge them, just smash them together, and I'll pull a few handles. But other than that, this is for large and small pots. Right, first of all, whenever you're doing spiral kneading, you need to be above the clay. There's my hip there. My hip would be approximately 250 above the bench. I am not exceptionally tall. I may appear tall in this, but I'm standing on a board, on a timber board, and the timber board is on bricks. And the reason for that is I want my hip height 250 above the table. For the reason this, your joints, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingers too. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my body weight as well as my arms, just slightly leaning forward. I'll show you, demonstrate now. Right, I've got it roughly into a shape I can work with. So I lean forward, that's the first one. It was always not really achieving much on the first one. And I'm going to use my left hand, dominant, passive. My left hand, it'll be this part of the hand, with my body weight leaning forward, and my arm is at this angle. There's the parallel angle, there's at this angle. And I'm leaning forward now, my shoulder, elbow tucked tight into my side, and I'm leaning forward and pushing like so. I'll deal with this hand in a second. I'm leaning forward and pushing. I'm using my body weight. Now this clay is a bit stiff, a bit stiffer than I wanted it to be, but it doesn't matter. My body weight is doing most of this work. And if you look at this hand twist, the heel is doing the work. At this angle, I'm leaning forward and slight push. Now what this hand do, the passive hand is gathering. So I push down like that, I lift with this off the deck, this one here gathers. These two hands, if you like, engaged in a dance with each other. So left hand push, right hand pull, gathers. Left hand push and twist, gather, right hand gathers. Left hand push and twist, right hand gathers. And so on. And I just get into a nice rhythm with it. Left hand push, right hand gathers. Left hand push, right hand gathers. And so on. And what this does is, although you might not realize it, I'm actually working all this clay here. And it doesn't seem like it. It seems like I'm only working on the top here. So I have to prove it to you. There's a pair of scissors. This is to prove all the particles of clay are being kneaded. One. As you can see, the scissors are starting to move. And now the clay that's down the bottom is now in the middle and it's coming to the top. Oh, I've knocked that out of shape. I have to do it again. There it is again. It really is the best method of conditioning clay, because you actually, that's what you're doing. You are conditioning clay before you throw it on a wheel. Now I'll have to take that out because this will want to go back down in there. Now I would do this 100 times. And once you get into a rhythm, you can just think of other things like my favourite football team. Now I'm going to close this off because I'm not going to bore you by counting to 100. So I'm going to close this off by gradually folding this into this here. So just leaning it over like that, and as you can see it's closing off. Now imagine I've done 100. Now these creases here, I get behind the creases with my hand, I get behind them and just push them. Just push them onto there. And I do it quickly, usually quickly, but I'm demonstrating here. So I just give it a quick wipe. Make sure there's no, and the reason I do it behind the crease is to stop any air pockets. I do the same here. Now all this wouldn't be as slow as this. Once you get into really into an acceptable speed and standard, you do it a lot quicker. But this is definitely the best method, without a doubt. And then all you do is pat it out, like so, and you cut it up into balls of clay. Right? Right. Hope that helps.